Hello, everybody. We are here with Main Stage Wrestling on WERW Real College Radio. I don't know if you're hearing us or if you're hearing music. Technical issues are always about with the show and the studio, it seems. But we are back here for another week of Main Stage. And I am Jacy Cola. And I am joined by...
Tigre Deuce.
That would be Tiger, who has joined us for many, many occasions of Main Stage Wrestling prior to this. And I don't know what you just said, man.
I was trying to say Tiger too, but I guess my Spanish isn't as good as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's not how you say two, is it? How do you say two?
Uno, dos, tres.
Yeah. Okay.
But no. Point is, last week we were here in the studio. It was me, you, and it was Sam Gelfand.
Mm-hmm.
The whole entire crew was here. We were broadcasting live, just putting out the incredible content that is Main Stage Wrestling.
Absolutely. That everybody heard and enjoyed and was praised
the problem.
universally.
That's a misconception that the three of us had.
Okay.
Because we didn't go live. Apparently we were broadcasting here. Everything said it was working. But apparently it just didn't go live and our recording didn't record. So that was real unfortunate.
It was a work all along.
But I have confirmation already this week from my lovely, lovely parents.
Okay, great.
That we are live. We are being heard as opposed to what was happening last week. So that's great stuff.
Okay.
This is an official episode of Main Stage.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
So do I have your attention now?
You do have my attention,
It's the real
Tiger.
question
Yes,
we should be asking to our audience.
Hopefully we have the entire listening audience's attention as we are here to run down the top news stories of the week this week in professional wrestling.
Let's do it to it.
I don't know if that's the expression, but fantastic. And also just a sort of forewarning about our news stories this week. Rather than doing our usual match of the week for our final segment, what we're going to be doing instead is just one long final news story. One, because I was very busy this past week, and I don't think any of the three of us really wanted to do a match of the week. But then also, we have a ton of news to get to, so it works out. We can compensate.
So it's not actually because we wrote Jimmy Havoc versus Will Ospreay. You just don't want to watch it.
I'm never watching Will Ospreay versus Jimmy Havoc. It's not a thing I ever want to spend any time of my life doing.
Damn it.
But then also, another little warning for this show is at some point we should expect an appearance from Sam Gelfand. It's just he's a little bit late getting here because of his living situation, his bus situation, and his equipment situation.
And also actually getting paid.
Yeah, that's also an issue sometimes. But he should be here sometime throughout the course of the show. But Tiger, we're here. We're broadcasting live. I think it's about time we get into the news. How about it?
All right.
Okay.
Great.
Well, our first news story of the week comes as a result of all that went down on Thursday, which is an odd week for news in pro wrestling because there's no real shows going on that day, right?
No, I don't think so.
It's like the one day of the week where there's nothing really going on. That is, except for like the 2 or 3 occasions throughout the year when World Wrestling Entertainment broadcasts live from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And wow, it was a show, man.
It was almost as universally praised as our last broadcasting.
I think that's incorrect because I'd say that usually it's not a negative sort of review that we get with this show. It's more a lack thereof.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas WWE, plenty of people watched it. Just no one was happy with it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a bit unfortunate. So this first news story is just basically that show happening and the results that came from it. So I'm pretty sure out of the two of us, I'm the only one who actually watched the show, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure you'd be very satisfied with the results of the show, considering Miz and Morrison won tag team championships.
That is actually the first bit on my list of outcomes from this whole entire event, is that Miz and Morrison, hey, ho, ho, Miz and Morrison.
Ain't no make-believe.
That's also true.
Right.
Are the SmackDown tag team champions, Tiger. Is Sam here?
I'm not sure. I guess I'll have to...
Yeah, go check, Tiger.
Came and went.
I doubt it, Sam, but we'll find out. But no, that was one of the major takeaways for me with the Saudi Arabia show, and that Miz and Morrison are already the SmackDown Tag Team Champions just like a few weeks after Morrison made his re-debut, I guess.
Morrison, the young upstart.
Yes.
Finally, a new person getting put over.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So they beat the New Day, and probably what was the best match on the entire show, I feel.
Not this two-wake trophy.
You know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I love the two-wake trophy match. It was the first 45 minutes of the entire pay-per-view.
Uh-huh.
I watched every single bit of it.
Okay.
And up until the very end, which saw The Undertaker coming out to replace Rey Mysterio, who replaced him in the gauntlet match that it was for the two-week trophy.
Yes.
The Undertaker came out, and he chokeslammed AJ Styles and won. That was the entire finale of the match. But everything preceding that was great, because you know how normally in gauntlet matches, you set up the one baby face to sort of go throughout most of it.
Yeah.
And he just like sort of falls into accidentally getting wins or like gets a count out or something, right?
Yeah.
And you build up all the support for him throughout the course of the match.
Right.
They were doing that with R-Truth, and it was really working.
Okay.
Like he beat Bobby Lashley at first, then he beat Eric Rowan, and then he what was the last one? There were 3 people that he beat basically, and then AJ Styles came out, and then AJ sort of beat him pretty handedly. But the thing is, the weird thing about Saudi Arabia is that they're so excited just like to have the big names there that when AJ came out, they just cheered him instead of R-Truth. They just forgot that they liked him, you know? Yeah.
What great booking decisions.
What great booking
throughout this show. That is, of course.
Yeah. But basically, I liked the two-week trophy match. I liked the SmackDown Tag Team title matches. Those were the first 2 on the show, and those were my highlights. Everything after that went very downhill, very quickly, Tiger. Because we also... Well, that's not entirely true. Because we also saw Mansoor returning, where he took on Dolph Ziggler, and we had our obligatory sort of win from him in his hometown, which is fair enough. Like, I wish if they're going to be putting Mansoor in all these major spots on the Saudi shows, like, why not just build him up as a bigger star in NXT?
Yeah.
I feel like he has the talent. He has the personality. Like, he has everything going for him. You just need to put him on television. I think people outside of Saudi Arabia would start, like, really getting behind him.
I think the problem is to put somebody over, you would actually have to write storylines.
Oh, that is a problem in NXT recently, to be fair. It really is. But on this show, on Super Showdown, we saw Mansoor defeat Dolph Ziggler after Bobby Roode was thrown out from ringside because of his interference at first. Then we also saw... Now, this is where stuff starts to go downhill, I guess. We saw the Street Profits take on Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, and Buddy Murphy for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And the match was fine. I wasn't watching this show live. I was watching it at night because I had classes during the day, and I was very tired throughout it. And this was the match where I started to doze, and it felt like it went on for forever. I thought this match would maybe get like 10 minutes or so. I feel like it went half an hour. I can't say whether or not that's true because I was in and out of sleep, but it went on for a very long time, and there was a creative enough finish, but we ended up seeing the Street Profits lose, and, which is a bit unfortunate. But I guess it makes sense because you're putting all this momentum behind Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy and AOP right now. Like, there's no reason to just...
I don't think AOP is included in that list. I think it's just Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins because they're singles wrestlers.
I mean, I guess so.
And then they're beating tag teams left and right.
Yeah.
And then newer tag teams that just gets lost in the shuffle.
But AOP is part of their unit. Like, they're all part of the Monday Night Messiah group.
I guess. If you count, like, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode to be still part of Baron Corbin's court, then
what do you
I
mean?
Guess...
AOP is still coming out with them every week.
Okay.
Baron Corbin hasn't hung out with Dolph Ziggler in forever.
In like 2 weeks.
That's
not
it's
words.
Long enough. In WWE, you forget that soon, man. You really do. And then I was okay with that match. It felt like it went on a while. I understand why the Street Profits didn't win. But then we got to Ricochet versus Brock Lesnar. A match that I was pretty excited for. I was trying to tame my expectations going into the show. But you guys convinced me otherwise. You and Sam kept saying to me, well, Brock always has these really great matches with smaller guys, and you pulled me out of my pessimism, right? And then there was this amazing video package even going into the actual match. Like, they put a lot of effort into this, and I was like, wow. And Ricochet came out in brand new gear. He like was in trunks instead of tights. He had like his beard was already done. He looked like this was a change in the persona of Ricochet. Like, is something going to happen here? Like, I got excited for a little bit. I didn't fully bite, but I was like, maybe this match is going to be good. Then Brock gets in the ring. The bell rings for the WWE Championship. And Brock just suplexes Ricochet a few times, hits the F5, and wins in less than probably 3 minutes.
Less than the opening video package.
Are you able to move closer to your mic? Yeah,
Sorry,
thank you.
Yeah, less than the opening... it's shorter than the opening video package.
No, it was definitely shorter than the video package I enjoyed. Absolutely. And so that sucked, man. Because that could have been a really fun match, right?
I guess.
Yeah. Like, Ricochet took the suplexes really well. So imagine if they were used to put on a compelling match.
Imagine if this company actually did wrestling. Is what you just said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't mind shorter matches, but, like, why even bother? Like, why have him fight Ricochet? Put him in there with someone who you care even less about. Put him in there with an Apollo Crews or a Cedric Alexander, right? Like, someone there's even less stock in.
Yeah, but, like, the problem is then you would never bite. Here, like, you almost bite, even if it's at the start of the match.
Yeah, but what's the point of, like, biting on a show in Saudi? Like, what good is that compared to saving the reputation of one of your rising stars?
I don't know.
Right? Like, I don't think that risk versus reward is there.
Yeah.
No.
But, like, next week, you won't remember this match because they won't talk about it. So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. We're already seeing that sort of in play and in action, man. So Ricochet got squashed, essentially, by Brock Lesnar. Then also, apparently, there was a Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin match, which I slept through.
It's a cage match, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah.
I woke up well after the match. You know, I only saw it because I was scrubbing through the video at one point because I fell asleep during also the Mansoor match, so I wanted to see the finish.
Right.
So I didn't go back and actually watch the Reigns-Corbin match. I don't know who even won the match. I assume it's Roman.
Roman won.
Okay, that's cool. I'm sure it was a match, you know?
Roman want to go on bigger and better things. I'm sure they have a lot of plan for him.
Oh, I'm sure. We'll see. We'll see. And then also, before the main event, we saw Bayley versus Naomi for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and it was fine. It was whatever. They came out all dressed up in their Saudi Arabia garb, where they're just very heavily clothed, and it was like nothing remarkable, nothing too great.
I feel like Bayley's finish is the new Overdrive.
What is Bayley's finish? Is that where she like gets the knee and she like swings her face into the ground?
Yeah, it's like a Mahi Stroll, but instead of going sideways into a pin, it just goes face first. It's like a headlock driver, but you do the Mahi Stroll first.
Gotcha. Yeah, it doesn't look incredible, but I don't know. Like it works better than the Bayley to belly, I guess, for their purposes right now. Yeah. So that was Super Showdown.
Sorry, excuse me. That was Super Showdown.
That was Super Showdown. All but our second news story of the week. This one we can separate from that entire card, Tiger, because there's enough to talk about just in and of itself. Mm-hmm. It was the main event of this show in Saudi Arabia, of Super Showdown.
Yes.
It was for the Universal Championship. Mm-hmm. The defending Fiend was going to be taking on Bill Goldberg in a match that was set up in a remote interview on SmackDown 2 weeks before this. The Fiend is probably one of the most interesting, compelling, and unique characters that I've seen throughout my entire 11 years of watching wrestling. 12 years now.
Mm-hmm. Not the Miz during his Diva surge.
Oh no, that was right before I got into wrestling. Okay. So otherwise it would have counted. Right, yes, right. But the Fiend has been made out to be this massive deal. He's a very cool guy. Everyone loves him. And he just murders people. He's a murderer. His character is that he kills.
Also signs contracts for Raw and SmackDown.
He does, but he signs them with blood, so I don't mind it.
All right.
Yeah. And they've been building him up. They had him dethrone Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Mm-hmm. Like, if you change course so much that your biggest good guy in the entire company has to become a bad guy because of it, that's a pretty big deal. Like, that's a lot of flexibility for a company known for their stiffness, you know?
Yeah.
That's what happened with The Fiend. The Fiend was able to do that. Mm-hmm. The Fiend was able to rejuvenate Bray Wyatt, a man who has had so many starts and stops in his career. It is astounding.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt used to be one of my favorite professional wrestlers because when the Wyatt family debuted, it was that same sort of thing where I thought, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Did you hear him talk? He sounds different. He sounds cool. Like, he was very compelling.
And I remember everyone was so behind Wyatt family versus the Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the biggest deal.
And then we have Bray Wyatt versus John Cena at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans, and Bray loses. And then, all the Wyatt stuff just sort of falls apart. Mm-hmm. And Wyatt isn't nearly as big of a star for, years and years and years. And eventually he wins his WWE title. But it's all just to
month.
lose it to Randy. Yeah. Who loses it to Jinder, which incredible.
And then he lost the feud with Randy where he burned down his
So like his career's been very start and stop. Like his character has gotten muddled like so much throughout his career. And the last time we saw him before The Fiend, he was teaming up with Matt Hardy in basically a comedy act.
Yeah.
So for him to come back out of all of that and put on one of the most unique and compelling characters that we've seen in such a long time, to get people re-interested in him after we've been conditioned as fans to have so little interest or little faith in the character of Bray Wyatt, that's an incredible thing.
Yeah, certainly.
So, you know what WWE does, Tiger?
Well, first, they had him lose to Seth Rollins in a cage match.
No, he didn't lose. The match was just called off, which is fine.
Well, for
we recovered
DQ
from that.
reason. Right.
Yeah, we recovered from that. The Fiend didn't lose. The Fiend goes on to actually beat Seth Rollins in their last Saudi Arabia show before this.
Yeah, that's a step towards good, right?
Yeah. And so that's what I mean about them switching gears with Seth Rollins, which was a really crazy thing. But then what they decide to do with all this momentum, this incredible rejuvenation on behalf of Bray Wyatt, is they bring back a man who was at his peak in the late 90s, like the late 1990s, who can't really wrestle a match, had one of the worst matches in WWE history just within the year, and really doesn't belong anywhere in a wrestling ring, right?
I mean,
I don't think so.
People who paid for there are people who are still paying for Goldberg. I think it's the issue.
I don't think there are.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
Who's tuning in for Goldberg?
I don't know.
I've been a wrestling fan for, like I just said, 12 years.
Right.
For the first 6 of those years, I didn't know the difference between Bill Goldberg and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay. I thought they were both Stone Cold. It's just
Stone Cold with the jackhammer.
Yeah. So I don't think he's that big of a deal. You know?
Okay.
When he came over to WWE after WCW fell, he wasn't that big of a deal.
Right. I mean, that's a logical assumption. But obviously, I think the problem in wrestling is you're not valued on how good you are as a wrestler or as a personality.
Which I don't even mind that, because you don't have to be.
Yeah, no, but
as long as you bring it. Like, I'm not a person who's saying, like, oh, they can't wrestle a 5-star match. I don't want them on my TV. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as you're entertaining me, I'm fine.
Yeah, but the problem
last time Goldberg entertained me was during his feud with Brock Lesnar when he first returned. Everything after that, I haven't cared about.
But the problem is, you're really not valued upon your personality or like your presentation of a character. You're valued upon how the company values you.
Well, yeah.
So clearly, the WWE thinks that there's money in Goldberg.
Yeah, and that's fine. There can be money in him, but you have this character who can be a bigger star than Goldberg ever was. In my mind, he has the potential for it in The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, right?
Yeah.
And we haven't even mentioned the result. Bill Goldberg won the Universal Championship in like a matter of minutes. And it wasn't even one of those matches where Goldberg just spears him and jackhammers him and wins, like where we can even chalk that up to just like, oh, he wasn't prepared, like The Fiend wasn't ready. The match went on for a few minutes, and The Fiend was able to lock in the mandible claw multiple times, and he still lost.
Yeah.
Like, it's dumb, man.
Yeah, I'm going to be switching my channels over where they do put young talents over, like over at AEW.
Macaulay Culkin canceled his tickets to WrestleMania because he was so upset by this. Yeah.
Over at AEW where Chris Jericho's the champion.
Yes, I mean, young stars.
He's a better fighter than Goldberg anyway, you know. Oh, beat him in a shoot fight.
That's true. So basically, as we saw last night on SmackDown, this is clearly building to a Roman Reigns versus Goldberg match, because that was the opening segment on SmackDown.
Spear versus Spear.
Yes, that's true.
Just like we said at the end of Royal Rumble.
Yes. And we don't talk about the fact that The Fiend was champion just a couple days ago, you know, or literally 24 hours ago. That was never mentioned. It wasn't mentioned that Goldberg beat The Fiend. Nope. We just moved straight on into Roman Reigns. We ignored that happened.
And then John Cena is supposed to have a number one
Well, we'll get to that later. Well, we will certainly get to that later, Tiger. But it's just... this was their way to get Roman cheered at WrestleMania, and it's going to work, so good on them. Right?
Yeah. Very, very smart start.
If their main concern is getting Roman cheered at WrestleMania, then they're accomplishing their goal. So good on them.
I thought we were trying for this like 5 years in a row, but
we got
fine.
it a little bit last year with Drew.
Yeah, but
this year he's gonna take home the gold again,
finally, yeah.
and Tampa's gonna love it. So great
it's
stuff.
Totally not gonna happen where it happened, like when he was fighting Brock in the main event. Everybody just booed everything.
No.
Hopefully
I mean,
not.
I don't think it will.
Okay.
Because back then people wanted Brock to win. Like, if that makes sense. No one wants Goldberg to keep the title.
Everybody was booing everything in that match.
Well, yeah,
When
they
Brock
sort of didn't want any of it.
Yeah.
But then when Brock does win,
everybody
the
cheered.
fan was like, I was there. Like, it was just felt like, oh, that happened. Because the rumor was that Brock was going back to UFC.
Yeah.
So, like, there was a result there where it could feel rewarding. I don't know. Like, the match will be fine at Mania. It'll be an attraction. It won't go on too long, obviously, because Goldberg's part of it.
Clarifying, I have no problem with Roman Reigns. I think
Yeah,
Roman Reigns
Roman's
is
cool.
a great wrestler, and I think he can talk. Like, unlike most people just boring him.
And the other option for Mania, if this didn't happen, would be him versus the Fiend. Roman versus the Fiend.
I would be down with Roman.
I'd be
versus
down
Fiend.
with it, but no one's going to cheer Roman.
It's
So,
fine.
I
You
mean,
just don't book Roman to win.
I know. It's that easy. It's really that easy, but we don't do that in WWE.
Poor Roman.
Yeah. Guys, those were our first two news stories of the week. We'll be back in just a couple minutes here on WERW Real College Radio to get into some more news stories in this world of pro wrestling. I'm Jacy Cola. I'm joined by my friend Tiger, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Hey, we are back here with Main Stage Wrestling on WERW Real College Radio. I am Jacy Cola, and I am joined by my good friend...
Tigre.
You already forgot it. There you go. You got it. I'm joined by my good friend Tiger here for this edition of Main Stage. We're still lacking our compatriot, Mr. Sam Gelfand,
Yes.
who has yet to arrive at the studio yet, but I am sure he will be here sometime soon, hopefully before the end of the show.
Yeah. I'll
yeah.
probably be changing my stage name to Stu Grayson.
Stu Grayson, that's
I don't
very
want to
cool.
be number 2 of
Oh,
a
I see.
tag team.
I see. Well, Tiger, we went through the first couple of news stories this week in pro wrestling, both of which revolved around Saudi Arabia this past Thursday, where a whole lot happened,
All in positive directions. Life goes on.
Like, it's wrestling. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's just like a fun little form of entertainment that doesn't matter. But
Not at all.
No. But speaking of fun little bits of entertainment that don't matter, Tiger, NXT happened this past Wednesday, the day before Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia. And we saw a couple big events happen on that show. Like, just to mention, we have now a feud being set up between Finn Balor and Walter, which should be pretty interesting. I imagine that match would happen at Tampa's TakeOver.
Balor's turning face again?
Yeah, I don't really get that.
Okay.
I don't get it at all.
Unless Walter is babyface.
Yeah. After he had a gang beat down of Finn Balor this past week, maybe. But that happened on the show. We also saw the progression of Ciampa versus Gargano with their rivalry, which is... I realized this week as I was watching that segment, just last night as I was struggling not to fall asleep, I'm very done with the two of them.
Oh, no.
I don't care. I don't care anymore. But the more pressing story out of all that episode, and our third news story of the week, is the main event of Wednesday night's episode of NXT, which saw Charlotte Flair go one-on-one with Bianca Belair. And I know I was talking to you last week when we weren't actually broadcasting live about how I thought that this match should happen sometime before WrestleMania, but I couldn't figure out when, right? So I thought, like, maybe it'll be the night before at TakeOver in Tampa, or I was just trying to figure it out because it feels like a big match where you'd want to make a sort of big deal out of it. And they decided to put it in the main event of NXT this week, which is fine and makes sense, especially because you had Bianca call out Charlotte last week, right? And I'm glad they got the match in, at least, before Mania, if that makes sense, And in the match, we saw Bianca, unfortunately, lose to Charlotte, which I saw a bunch of people upset about online, and I get it, because Bianca never wins matches when they actually matter.
Yeah.
But when you're building to a match between Charlotte and Rhea at WrestleMania, there's no reason to have Bianca win if she's not going to be included in the match as a triple threat, So I don't necessarily mind her losing, and I do like that throughout the match, she felt like Bianca was put on an even playing field as Charlotte Flair, which is a big deal. Like, Charlotte's the 10-time women's champion, you know?
Mm-hmm.
She's probably the biggest star in the women's division. I mean, I guess you have Becky, but as far as like a cemented woman who is going down in WWE history as like a legend, Charlotte Flair is, I think, there. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so you have this woman of that stature, and you're putting Bianca in the ring with her, and they're going toe to toe. Like, that's a pretty big deal for someone in NXT who hasn't been given all the opportunities in the world, you know?
Yeah. Unless Charlotte just beats Rhea at Mania. And
That's not happening. You know? Like, why would that happen?
Probably not.
Yeah,
honestly.
right?
But unless they really want to treat NXT like a third brand from now on, they're going to be moving some established people back to NXT, like we've seen with Balor. And
Yeah.
because like if Charlotte stays on Raw or SmackDown,
Yeah.
she's just going to be having the same matches with
Bailey,
Yeah.
Alexa,
Naomi.
Becky. I mean, I guess so. And that's true to an extent, but I also... I don't think I want to see Charlotte stay in NXT. I don't think that's what this is.
Okay.
I think this is really just her going back down there because she won the Royal Rumble. Like, it's always been a thing where the Royal Rumble winner, if they pick the championship to challenge for on the opposite brand, they sort of have the
crossover.
level. Like, they have that ability to just go from brand to brand as they please, which I think is fair. You know, you won that privilege almost.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm a very big proponent of keeping the brand separate, especially when there's a brand split going on, as there is at the moment. But when there's a scenario like this, where it is a direct result of something that makes sense in terms of actual storyline in WWE, I don't mind it as much. Because, like, I have to imagine after Mania, she's going to be staying on Raw, right? When if that's not the case, and if she's still switching up from brand to brand, then my mood will totally change on this. But as I see it right now, I don't mind that there's this crossover.
I think Charlotte being in NXT would really benefit her, though.
Well, how so?
I think because she will be the shark in the pound. So
The shark in the pound.
Yeah, like she's not a big fish. She's
Yeah.
like a shark.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then it will be, you know, she could be winning a lot of matches, and it would be a good look for her. And then if anybody beats her, then they're like established, like main event, big deal.
It's a similar deal to Finn Balor.
Yeah.
But the difference there is that Charlotte's going to be, as you put it, the big shark in the pound.
Yeah.
On any of the three brands.
I guess so. Yeah.
Like, I guess it'll be a smaller pound in NXT. But Charlotte's still going to have one of those top spots no matter where she is. And I think...
So I don't think it really matters to her.
I think if you have one person like a Charlotte Flair move on to NXT, it will definitely help raise the division stock.
Yeah, certainly.
You'll see them battling her like Bianca did on this past Wednesday, seeing that there's almost equals in that, like, you should take these other women seriously. Like, if what's her name? Tegan Nox has a match with Charlotte and it makes Tegan look credible. That's doing a lot for her, and then by proxy Dakota Kai, and by proxy Raquel Gonzalez, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
So,
yeah.
like, I wouldn't be opposed to her staying at NXT, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if I would advocate for it.
What needs to happen is Dakota needs to have a match with Charlotte and then lose.
I mean, I would prefer that not happen, but I'm sure it will at some point, you know? Both those women still have a few years left. Yeah. Yeah, but point is, I thought the match between Bianca and Charlotte was really good. Bianca didn't need to win, but they need to take the momentum she has now and not let it sort of burn out like they have before, you know, because she gets all these opportunities and she blows them, if that makes sense. Like, not her in real life, obviously, but like the character of Bianca Belair is never able to win when it counts.
Yeah.
And so I think after WrestleMania, she needs to start winning when it counts. So I think maybe the start of that is that, because did you hear that there was announced ladder match for the number one contendership at Tampa?
Yeah.
And because Charlotte and Rhea are fighting at actually WrestleMania, right? They're not going to have a women's match on TakeOver the night before, so instead they're doing a contendership ladder match.
Okay.
And so I can see Bianca entering that and winning that, and that hopefully setting up her for a reign with the title.
Yeah.
I hope so. Mm-hmm. And then we can move on to our fourth news story of the week, Tiger. And it's something we brushed up against earlier with our second news story. And that is that at WrestleMania, as of last night, we are going to be seeing, for the second time ever, John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. And to talk with us about this story, we have Sam Gelfand joining us in studio at this very moment as Tiger lets him in the door. Sam is here looking flustered as ever as hearts fly into his face. Oh, he has a lot of equipment with him. Sam, just to catch you up, we are on our fourth news story of the week, and it is that The Fiend is going to be taking on John Cena at WrestleMania as made official last night on SmackDown. So,
hey, even with all the stuff I had to bring, you think I'd miss an episode of Saturday Afternoon Slam Masters?
I don't think so. I don't think so ever, Sam. So we obviously are very happy to have you here.
It's great to be here.
To be able to discuss these two final news stories with us.
I'll be a little bit out of breath, but I'm happy
That's
to be
okay.
here.
That's okay. I'll give you some time as I sort of describe how this match came about for WrestleMania. Because last night, in the main event segment of SmackDown, we saw John Cena come out to the ring. They've been advertising his appearance for a couple months at this point, actually. And they aired some video packages earlier in the night, sort of as a career retrospective for Cena. And they were sort of playing on the idea that this might be one of Cena's last appearances in WWE. And when he came out to the ring, there was about 12 minutes left in the show. And Cena, throughout the entire thing, kept teasing basically what he's going to be doing at WrestleMania, as he's been doing the past couple of years. They've been doing this as a recurring story now, where Cena comes back for WrestleMania season, and the big deal is about how he's going to get a match at Mania. And this time, they acknowledge sort of the elephant in the room whenever the story comes about, and that Cena can just ask for whatever match he wants, right? Like, if he wants a match, he's going to get it. And
exactly.
He acknowledged
it's not like
that.
He doesn't have to search for it.
No.
I mean, I kind of got it with The Undertaker, because obviously it's The Undertaker. I don't think... do you think The Undertaker, has a secretary?
I would hope so. So what we ended up seeing, though, was Cena sort of acknowledging this fact that whatever match he wants, he can have. But the thing is, he listens to the WWE Universe. He's been listening to us for a while. After every Raw, after every SmackDown, after every NXT, he sees the tweets, he sees the fan response. And that what the WWE Universe is most passionate right now about is the next generation and the future of the company. And he doesn't want to take away from that. He wants to put them on a pedestal, and he wants to let the people that are working day in and day out in the company, on the road for the company, he believes that they're deserving of the limited spots at WrestleMania. And so he announces basically that he doesn't want a WrestleMania match this year. He's going to just sit this one out. And
I'm sure he'll sit in the crowd like he did before he faced The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And so basically that's where it's at. And Cena gets out of the ring. He starts high-fiving the crowd. His music plays. And then I start thinking, oh, is The Fiend not coming out? Right? Because it seems like this is what it is. Because obviously what everyone is thinking is The Fiend versus John Cena.
Yeah.
We already found out earlier in the night it's probably going to be Goldberg versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania as well.
Confirm it?
I mean, when Goldberg says, I don't want to talk about who's last, I want to talk about who's next, and then Roman comes out, it's all but confirmed, you know? So
Everybody cheered, of course.
Oh, yes, the cheer was raucous. The applause was indeed. And so Cena looks like he's leaving the ring, his music's playing, and I start thinking, this is so stupid. We're really doing this. We're just going to ignore The Fiend all of tonight. And Cena's not having a match at Mania.
You know, the amazing thing is that you're conditioned for that to be normal.
Well, yeah. I've learned that if there's something astoundingly stupid happening on my television and WWE's logo's in the corner, it's believable. I can see that, yep, this makes sense.
Then, of course, everybody cheered because rising star Cedric Alexander came out and challenged Cena to a match at Mania.
This is just lies.
Oh.
This is just lies, Tiger. You watched a different program than what I watched.
No. I watched the program.
I want to believe.
But what ended up happening is Cena got to the top of the ramp. He did his salute. It looks like SmackDown's about to go off the air. And then you hear it. You hear the lights go down. You hear that weird little electronic sound that happens when everything starts to shut off.
No one will survive.
No, that did not happen. Tiger, you've been watching all the wrong shows leading up to this. I don't know what this is. You do hear that.
Oh, okay.
And the Fiend appears behind John Cena.
That was my Fiend impression, by the way.
That's good. I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
My Fiend impression is
my first attempt.
I see.
just the looping of the ha 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 ha.
Well, I mean, both you guys are just master impressionists. I like that you can bring that to main stage. You know, you can pick up where I lack. That's great stuff. So we see the Fiend appear behind John Cena after he made this whole entire speech about how he's sitting out this WrestleMania. And you see the Fiend. He even points cool, this guy. He points to the WrestleMania sign, and he just stares at Cena.
With
and
the hurt or the heel glove?
Oh, it was his right hand. I don't know what that means, though.
Heel. Wait,
heel. I don't...
So that would be hurt.
Okay, his hurt hand. His hurt hand, he points to the WrestleMania sign.
Will WrestleMania hurt this year?
Well,
that is the question.
that is the question, and I don't think it will, because I'm very excited for this match. After Bray pointed to the sign, Cena nodded his hat at him. The lights go dark. You hear the laugh again, and SmackDown is over. So this match is all but confirmed between the Fiend. Nope, not the Fiend. That's not a man. Between Bray Wyatt and between John Cena. And I'm really excited for it. And also, this final segment, when the Fiend did appear and he did point all cool, it made me realize Goldberg didn't murder the Fiend. He's okay. Like, the aura of the character is still there, and it's salvageable.
It's salvageable, but I don't quite like that ending, in that the Fiend to me has always seemed a little bit animalistic, but WWE's kind of been bringing him back down towards acting with the mentality of a normal wrestler.
Well, right now...
Like, I feel like the Fiend shouldn't come out unless he's trying to murder somebody.
I agree with that.
If he wants to fight John Cena, he's right next to John Cena, and he should be trying to cinch in the mandible claw. He shouldn't point and say, I will fight you in 2 months.
Well, I think I agree with you in large part, except if what happened Thursday. Because we saw the Fiend try to do that tactic of just murdering his opponent beforehand with Bill Goldberg. And the Fiend got rocked by Goldberg. Then the Fiend went into his match with Goldberg, and the Fiend lost to Goldberg. So I think this is new territory for the Fiend character.
You're
the Fiend
thinking
hasn't dealt with this
further than they are.
Well, but it makes sense to me. And now maybe the Fiend's a bit more timid.
Cautious?
Yeah, he's more cautious. He doesn't want to rush in.
Also, John Cena saluting or tipping his cap to the Fiend.
Yeah.
I think the problem is you should probably not be putting your most interesting character in a position where you are almost always trying to salvage it.
Yeah, that is the problem. And I think if Cena beats Fiend again, if he beats Bray Wyatt again at WrestleMania, I mean, it's the story of Bray Wyatt's life, you know?
Let's take betting odds real quick. What are the odds that at some point in the lead up to WrestleMania, we're going to get a Firefly Funhouse, and then John Cena is going to respond and say, fine speech?
That's a great question, Tiger.
Well, I think John Cena should be a guest star at the Firefly Funhouse.
Oh, I hope so.
John Cena's for the children.
Wow.
He's going to show up with his chain gang.
Okay, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
for
That's
the
good.
children.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So we have that match heading into WrestleMania. We also have Goldberg and Roman Reigns heading into WrestleMania. And honestly, I'm excited about the former, you know? I'm very excited for The Fiend versus John Cena. Granted, I was excited for Bray versus Cena #1 at WrestleMania 30. So we'll see how it goes. But guys, these were our first few news stories of the week in professional wrestling. We have one more left when we get back from the break, and we'll be running down the card of AEW's second ever pay-per-view since starting up television, and that of Revolution. So we'll be back with that card rundown in just a couple moments. Until then, stay tuned, everybody. We are back here with Main Stage Wrestling on WERW Real College Radio. I am Jacy Cola, and I am joined by my two co-hosts. Who wants to go first? You guys look really confused.
Rock,
Tiger,
paper,
you were
scissors?
here longer.
Oh, rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, go.
Oh my God,
my
Tiger
God.
with the paper, Sam with the scissors.
Sam Gelfand.
Yeah, and
the great Tiger Man.
that's right.
Did you know that if you put an S before WERW Real College Radio, you get Swerve?
That's incredible. I'm glad that you can be here to bring us that trivia, man. That's
Swerve.
Yes, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not quite there, but almost.
Although,
Almost.
It's kind of a double V, although it is called a double U, so Swerve of a.
I see.
Oh.
I see. Well, guys, we have spent this entire show running down the top news stories of the week in the world of pro wrestling, and we are on to our final story now, because tonight, rather than doing our normal match of the week, we are going to spend all this time, the remainder of our show, running down the card for AEW Revolution.
Should I say the hype thing?
Say the hype thing.
We have fulfilled all of our commercial obligations.
That is absolutely right. We have played our rads, and we are here now. Just
I
to
will
look
steal
forward.
that from WCW Nitro for the rest of my time.
As you should. As you should. And so we can spend the remainder of our time looking forward to all of the festivities happening tonight on Bleacher Report Live for, again, AEW's second ever pay-per-view since going live on TNT. So, guys, just on a very broad level, how you feeling heading into tonight?
Excited.
Yeah, right?
I'm very excited, but I don't have the money, nor have I ordered the show.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have.
Oh, great.
You know.
Well, of course, that's because, and maybe I mean, we can take the moment to plug that
Yes.
you and I will be broadcasting the James Hildewit High School girls basketball sectional semifinal matchup against the New Hartford Spartans tonight at 5:30.
That is correct.
Wow,
I will be
that's-
on the camera. Sam will be on the microphone. And Tiger, you'll be studying for your test.
That's correct. Yes.
How fun.
Exciting times. Yes.
It's actually going to be a pretty good basketball game.
So none of us are actually going to be watching the show live, but
But
I'm sure
we're excited.
Yeah, we're very excited for it, and I'm sure we will be watching it very soon thereafter. And so let's just go ahead, hop into the card. And so far, there's only one announced pre-show match, and that is between SCU, SoCal Uncensored, and the Dark Order.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. They've been building this matchup for a while, you know? Out of all the matches on the card, it's had one of the longest builds, as they've been teasing, like, the sort
The
of...
exalted one.
The exalted one being the fallen angel, Christopher Daniels.
Which would be a brilliant callback, considering that Christopher Daniels was supposed to be the higher power in WWE before it was named. Before
Supposed
it was me, Austin.
Supposed to be is a very strong word to use there, man.
Supposedly.
Oh, okay. I see.
Supposedly
I
supposed
see.
to be. The
Yes.
rumor was they were scouting him
clear.
at the time, and he was supposed. That was supposed to be supposedly
Supposedly,
to be
yeah.
his
Keyword.
big debut, and he would
I
come in
see.
as the higher power, but instead the deal fell through.
Well, now we could see him being the exalted one, which I sort of hope doesn't happen. You know, I feel like it's a bit on the nose.
There's rumors of Matt Hardy. There's rumors. Well, they brought in Raven just to throw people off.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
There's rumors of Luke Harper even. Like, there are a lot of ways it could go.
I think
And
what's
they're all great options,
Yeah.
honestly.
I think what's going to happen is Christopher Daniels is going to come down the ramp like in the middle of the match, and then there was like, oh my god, he's going to turn on SCU, but then somebody else is going to come in and like attack him from behind,
Okay.
and then
Not a
that's the
terrible idea,
real,
though.
And he's the exalted one?
real exalted one.
I
yeah.
see. That could happen. Like, I could very easily see that happening, actually. But I don't know. Do you want to have this reveal of the exalted one, this big character you've been building up to, on a pre-show match?
No, probably in the main event of Dynamite the next day.
I thought you were going to say the main event of this pay-per-view, and I was
Or
going to be very
not the
upset
next-
with you.
Not the next day, not the next day,
Yeah,
but
but
the
on
next show
Wednesday.
of Dynamite. Or Mordecai.
Mordecai is probably a free agent, I would imagine.
Well, somebody said that probably maybe if the main event is the Bucks versus Kenny and
There's no way
Hammond.
that's the main event.
That's
Okay,
not the
but
main event.
what if
It's
it
gonna be
is?
it's gonna be Jericho Moxley.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe they'll win in the pre-match, the higher power. The Dark Order will win
okay.
in the pre-show, and then they're gonna come down and challenge the winner of Bucks versus Hammond.
okay. No, that makes
with
sense.
the exalted one.
Yeah. I could see that easily happening.
Yeah, the
for
great
sure.
equalizer in the match will show up probably on the Titantron. I would
Yeah.
imagine we'll get a vignette or a
Like,
hype
maybe there's like a
package.
post-match beatdown of whoever wins the tag match, and then the exalted one appears on the screen after, like,
Yeah,
Evil
it's
Uno's
like
on the mic.
why we're not afraid of you. You
Sure.
should be.
Or the exalted
Titantron.
one just could not be appearing tonight, and maybe it won't happen for a couple more months. Who
Maybe.
knows? Who knows? But that's our
We'll
first
find
match.
out at WrestleMania.
And I want to get our predictions, too, for each of these. We're not going to explain it. We're not going to do anything. I just want your predictions. SCU or Dark Order, Sam?
Dark Order.
Dark Order, yeah. That's fair. And then, next match, presumably on the main show, at least according to Wikipedia on the main show, a match that was built over the course of just this past Dynamite that I'm probably most excited for on the entire card, and I say that without any irony, and that of the Bastard Pack versus Orange Cassidy.
Pac is gonna die.
Oh, man.
Puck is probably going to win.
I can't tell you, Sam, how happy I am that I came to Syracuse University and I got to work for Wild Zero Wrestling.
Me too.
And be able to
Who,
see.
by the way, are booking Evil Uno for their next show, so we are going to witness the Dark Order.
Yes, I can't tell you how happy I am that all these stars have aligned for me to see Orange Cassidy in the entirety, like the build up into his renaissance. It's incredible. It's incredible. And now
we're watching history in the making.
We are. And I think tonight is definitely part of that, as Orange Cassidy is getting his first one-on-one singles match since signing to AEW, and it's with Pac.
My favorite wrestler in the world as well, who, as you know, we know, because we've all seen it, all three of us, Orange Cassidy can go.
Yes.
Dude's got skills. He just doesn't want to use them.
No. Go to YouTube and look up his match with David Starr from Beyond Wrestling. That's probably my favorite match of his that I've seen. And I don't like David Starr.
Even his match with Colin Delaney at Wild Zero is really good.
Real good matches.
You can say what you want about David Starr, but he had a great tweet this week after they said that Orange Cassidy is going to try in this match with Pac.
I see.
And then David Starr tweeted his match.
Try.
Yeah.
Chuck Taylor.
Yeah.
Love that guy. He had the opportunity to say the S word on Dynamite, though, but he didn't take it.
I know. Very impressive.
Oh, wow.
The restraint, the self-restraint. Yeah. But we can move on now to another match, the next match happening on this card, and that is for the AEW Women's Championship, a contest between the native beast Nyla Rose and Chris Statlander. And one of the matches that probably has the least build going into it tonight. And like, it'll be a fine match, you know, but like I don't care that much about it. Like, I think neither. Chris is probably gonna lose. I'm also surprised it's the only women's match on the entire show. You know?
That's a fair. I'm sure there will be another one on the pre-show.
Yeah, probably.
But I think the smart thing to do is have Nyla Rose win. She's a recent champion. She needs to get her title defenses.
Yeah, and maybe the division picks up after this. Like, there's a clear problem with the division, and that is just that it feels sort of like it's sort of not necessarily empty, because there are a lot of women, but there are no stars yet.
It lacks star power right now.
Like,
well, because it's not like it's not with the women's wrestling renaissance that's happened recently. It's not like they can take former WWE stars or something like that and bring them in to build it up.
Still.
They're still there. Exactly. So all you can do is take people from the independents who are really yet to be signed or discovered by WWE. So of course you're going to lack that star power.
One chance to like just get a massive star from the get-go and make the division feel huge immediately was Tessa Blanchard. And we saw it was probably, I guess, to their benefit that they didn't sign her, you know? But like, that is still, like, even now after all the stuff came out about her, she's probably the biggest star in women's wrestling outside of WWE, right? Maybe Jordynne Grace, but she's not going to raise the stock of the division that much.
Well,
Valkyrie.
Jordynne Grace would be a coup. Taya would be a coup. Honestly, we've talked about how their possible reliance on Japanese women, but if they could somehow get Mayu Iwatani, that would be great. You could put the belt on her for 9 months if you wanted to.
Former ROH Women's Champion.
Oh, yes. True. I feel like they've really missed the boat, too, with Mercedes Martinez, with WWE just signing her a couple weeks ago.
Session Moth Martinez still out there as well?
I don't know. If you want
to
build a credible division, I don't know if Session Moth is like the star you go to. But
no, but I mean, she'd be good on the lower to mid card.
Yeah. So next up on the Revolution card, second to Pac and Orange Cassidy, probably the match I'm most excited to see, just because they're two of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now. Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara in a one-on-one match on a pay-per-view, and I'm very excited, guys. It's just it's one of the inner circle matches happening on the show. It's clearly not one of the standouts when you look at the card top to bottom, but they're both amazing wrestlers, and they both have very interesting characters, and Darby Allin can't speak because of Sammy Guevara. You know, like,
that's
there's
true.
Like, there's reason to care about this match aside from just liking both of them. So
there's a good story going into this. I admit I haven't quite bought into both of them as much as I probably should. Maybe Guevara more than I have Allin.
Really?
I feel like there's something about Allin that says to me backstage he probably has some skeletons in his closet.
I wouldn't be willing to say that. He dresses like a skeleton. Maybe that's why you feel that way.
I'm not accusing him of anything. Yeah. I'm just saying that he gives off that kind of vibe to me.
I guess so.
I'm like, it's kind of like, maybe I should hold back in case he turns out to, not be.
I guess so, but then you have to exercise that restraint with everyone. You know?
Yeah, you can't really have a morality compass in wrestling.
Well, you can't have a morality compass before something immoral has happened.
That's fair.
Like, I don't know. When I see Darby.
Maybe I am judging, and it is a poor reflection of my own character.
I just don't get why. I feel like Darby Allin's probably the most successful star that AEW's built so far. That like didn't come into the company this massive.
I mean, he's
name.
got a skateboard. That's cool.
He has a skateboard. He has a sick entrance theme. He has a cool look. He has amazing matches, and he gets one of the biggest reactions out of everyone.
I just figured it out because he reminds me of Poochie from The Simpsons.
Oh, I see. Well, at least you can trace it back to that.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Wow.
They're really building him up as like a new like Jeff Hardy sort of character.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, but not really. Like,
not really.
no,
He's
just because they have
cooler.
face paint. You don't like him because he might do something bad, and you don't like him because he wears.
No, I don't not like
I take
him.
it back now. I take it back.
I thought everyone was
We
on
just
board
had a
with
brief
Darby.
therapy session here on the air.
I really thought everyone was on board with Darby. Like, this is the guy, but I guess I was incorrect.
I'm just worried about his personal health.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. And so the next match on the show is another one of those inner circle matches, as we see Jake Hager, according to Jericho, in his first ever match in AEW as he takes on the Natural, Dustin Rhodes.
I am actually hyped about this.
Okay, then we have these two matches swapped, man.
I'm very hyped about this.
Again, we mentioned it last week when we weren't actually live. It's Jack Swagger versus Goldust. This match happened 20 times in 2009. You know, like...
Well, I mean, first of all, I am a big fan of Dustin Rhodes, so let's, I admit that I might be a little bit biased in that. I do really like him and his abilities and his storytelling and whatnot. And Jake Hager, we have to remember when he had those matches with Goldust in like 2009, he was fresh into professional wrestling.
He was world champion.
And he was made world champion like 2 or 3 years into his career.
Okay.
So he was still pretty green, to be honest. So he's got a lot of time. Usually... I've noticed when it comes to people who've competed in MMA, suddenly the training, I do think, improves them, at least their selling abilities, for sure.
We probably don't want to spend all that much time on this one match because we have 3 more to get to.
Who's going to win?
Oh, shoot, we haven't been doing that.
Jesus.
It'll be Jake. It's his first match.
Jake Hager.
I also loved how JR reacted to the Dippin' Dots on Dynamite this week. That was incredible.
Great.
Yeah.
And so, our final 3 matches, as we sort of come to a close on this episode of Main Stage, the 3 biggest matches with the biggest stories being told in each of them. We have a match that we talked about earlier, in that of Omega and Adam Page taking on the Young Bucks, and a match that I think probably is the most interesting and compelling story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where like it was subtly built for the longest time, but then in the past few weeks, as everything started to click, it really started to click. So I'm excited for it. And who do you guys have winning?
Omega and Heyman.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
How about you, Sam?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I have the Bucks winning, just because
I'm on the fence.
I think for the Page character, for him, like for the chip on his shoulder that he's built, the only way to like continue that, or the best way to continue it, I think, is having the Bucks pick up the titles.
Yeah, I think the Bucks should win, and then Page versus Omega.
And then we move into Dark Order and Bucks. So then we have MJF versus Cody, which has probably had the most explicit build so far out of all these matches, and that's probably the longest video package known to man. And I'm excited for it. It'll be a fun match. Cody matches are always fun. They're always very compelling. MJF has proved that he's able to put on really good matches in the past. So I think it's going to be really good. I think there are going to be a lot of shenanigans, though.
Lots of shenanigans.
And I feel like maybe Arn turns, maybe he doesn't. But I don't know which way this goes. I really don't. It's 50-50.
I think it's going to be Cody, because I think we get very typical old school good guy beats bad guy story out of him, and it's not going to hurt MJF's stock if he takes the loss.
I guess so. How about you, Tiger?
Cody.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go MJF then.
Not after the 10 lashes. You
Gotcha.
can't have somebody lose after taking 10 lashes and all
Fair.
that, like, abused.
I will go with MJF just for the same reasoning, and that I don't think Cody's stock goes down from that. And I think MJF can use it better to transition into another story after this, instead of taking time off. And then we have our main event of the evening, for which we had a weigh-in this past Wednesday on Dynamite, which is very strange, and I love JR's reaction again to the women walking down the ramp, which was absurd. It was absurd.
It was 2 heavyweights having weigh-ins.
Yes, indeed. And so we saw we will see Jon Moxley versus Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship as the final match on this show, presumably. And I'm excited for it. Like, we've seen the match plenty of times in WWE, but I think it'll be fun. I'm not expecting this classic, but I think it'll be a good time. I think it'll be a good way to sort of show where the future of AEW is going. So who do you guys have winning?
Jericho via shenanigans.
Okay.
Jon Moxley.
And I'll go with Jon Moxley too. And so, guys, that's the Revolution card. This show's happening later tonight on Bleacher Report Live, as I mentioned before, and on pay-per-view. And hopefully you guys can all check it out. We'll be watching later after the fact. So we'll be back here next week with another episode of Main Stage. Thank you all for joining us again. Goodbye, everybody.